Every night, exactly at 3:33, Marta's phone alarm would start ringing. At first, she thought she had accidentally set a timer, but when she checked the settings, no alarms had been created at all. She even deleted every alarm, turned off the internet, switched the phone to airplane mode, yet the tone still rang the next night. The sound wasn't a standard one. It seemed to seep through the walls, dull, metallic, almost like knocking from inside the device. When Marta picked up the phone, the screen stayed dark, completely black, even though the sound was coming directly from it. One night, when 3:33 struck again, she decided to record it. But the camera wouldn't turn on. Only the flash lit up on its own, flooding the room with cold white light. And at the very moment the sound stopped, Marta noticed something dark and motionless in the corner. In the morning, a new alarm appeared on her phone. There was only one in the list, set for 3:33. Next to its name stood a short message, "Answer." After the message "Answer" appeared, Marta spent hours holding her phone, afraid to even touch the screen. She decided not to do anything until the next night, but the feeling that someone invisible was watching her in the apartment didn't leave her for a second. When the clock approached 3:33 again, she turned the camera on in advance and placed the phone on the table. The moment the time hit, the alarm rang again, but this time the sound was quieter, muffled, as if someone were whispering the tone right into her ear. The screen slowly lit up, not fully, just a narrow strip of light, as if a shadow was blocking the rest. A single symbol appeared on the display, ? Marta gathered her courage and whispered, "What do you want?" The alarm immediately fell silent. The room became so quiet that she could hear her own breathing. And then, on the screen, letters began to appear one by one, silently, as if someone was typing them from the other side. "You forgot me." The phone suddenly shut off. And behind Marta, the floor creaked softly, exactly where no one could be standing. Marta spun around sharply, but the room was empty. The silence felt thick, as if the air itself had become heavier. She picked up the phone, but it was dead. The screen didn't react even when she plugged in the charger. The feeling of someone standing behind her didn't fade, it only grew stronger, as if something invisible was staring directly at the back of her head. Not knowing what else to do, Marta pulled out an old box filled with school memories. She didn't understand why, but the words, "You forgot me," sparked a strange sense of familiarity, distant yet painfully real. While digging through notebooks and photos, she found a small, cheap alarm clock, the same kind her younger brother used to have, the brother who disappeared years ago. When she picked it up, the device suddenly switched on. The hands began spinning wildly until they stopped at 3:33. In the same moment, the same metallic ringing echoed from its tiny speaker, exactly the sound she had heard from her phone. Marta set the clock down, her heart pounding. A scratched line appeared on its display, carved by hand, "Wake up." And then, from the darkness behind her, a quiet voice spoke, a voice she knew from long ago. Marta froze, barely breathing. The voice was unmistakable, not just from the past, but from the moment she had spent years trying to forget. She slowly turned around, but the room was empty. Only a shadow in the corner seemed darker than it should have been. The alarm clock on the floor kept flickering, its hands trembling as if someone invisible was touching them. Marta remembered that this clock once belonged to her younger brother, the boy who disappeared many years ago. No one ever found him, nor an explanation for what happened that night. The room grew colder. Suddenly, a faint stripe of light flashed across the phone screen, even though it had been dead for hours. The light illuminated the floor, and Marta saw small, wet footprints, children's footprints, leading from the dark corner straight toward her bed. "Marta," the voice whispered again, closer this time. The footprints began appearing one after another, as if someone invisible was stepping toward her. Her heart hammered painfully when new text appeared on the phone's dim screen. "Follow me." At that same moment, the alarm clock spun wildly, its hands circling with violent speed. Then it stopped. 3:33. And the door to the dark hallway slowly opened on its own. The dark hallway door opened so quietly that it was even more unsettling than a creak, as if someone had been standing behind it for a long time, simply waiting for the moment to come inside. Marta slowly stood up, trying not to make a sound, though it was pointless. If something wanted her, it already knew she wasn't asleep. The hallway was darker than usual. The light from her room barely reached past the doorway, as if the darkness there had become thicker, heavier. The small, wet footprints continued straight in. She took a step. The floor felt cold, and she sensed the chill rising up her legs, as if she were stepping into black water. Her phone suddenly flickered to life. The screen lit up, and the camera turned on itself, pointing straight into the darkness of the hallway. Nothing was visible, only a solid black void. She took another step. A faint static noise rose from the phone's speaker, like an old radio catching a signal. The camera kept recording, and then a shape appeared on the screen, a small silhouette standing at the end of the hallway. No face, no features, only an outline, but Marta knew who it was. The figure slowly raised its hand, pointing to something behind itself, deeper into the darkness. The phone vibrated, and a new message appeared. "If you go, you won't come back." And at that same moment, the silhouette took a step toward her. The figure stepped forward, and Marta felt the air in the hallway thicken, as if it was filling with cold, damp fog. She wanted to run, but her legs wouldn't move. The weak light from her phone illuminated a face that wasn't there. A child's shadow stood before her, empty on the inside. "I told you," the voice whispered, now so close it felt like it was inside her ear. The shadow lifted its hand, the same small hand her brother once had, the brother she lost so many years ago. And then Marta remembered that night. They had been playing hide and seek, the alarm set for 3:33, her saying, "Wait, I'll find you in a minute," and how she had fallen asleep, never realizing he went into the basement alone. For the first time in years, the memory came back completely. Marta took a step forward. Not backward, forward. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "I remember." The shadow froze. The hallway filled with a soft ringing sound, like distant, childlike laughter. The silhouette started to dissolve, fading like smoke under a lamp. And before vanishing completely, it reached out one last time, a light cold touch, like a farewell. The alarm clock in the room rang one last time, 3:33. Then silence, deep and absolute. When Marta returned to the room, her phone lay on the floor, turned off. There were no alarms in the list. Only the old children's clock showed 3:34. The hands no longer moved, he had let go. But it only ever happened when someone finally remembered.